Welcome back. Before we get started, please pay attention. I highly doubt you'll make it to the end. These videos can get kind of disturbing, so stay tuned.
He brutally SA'd his own daughter for hours, and nothing is being done about it. 18-year-old Michaela Settles moved to Moore Park to live with her biological father, Stephen Chavez. Michaela had plans to attend Moore Park College and pursue her educational goals. Just 2 days after moving in, Stephen provided Michaela with alcohol and waited until she was intoxicated. Once Michaela was intoxicated, Stephen SA'd his own daughter for approximately 4 hours. After the assault, Michaela fled from the house barefoot and called her mom, begging her mom to come pick her up. When her family found her, Michaela was so severely injured that she couldn't even walk, and her uncle had to carry her. Michaela was taken to the hospital, and there they confirmed the presence of her father's DNA. Michaela also gave her statement to the police. Initially, Stephen was arrested and charged, but as time went on, he was released. Michaela was so traumatized that 5 months after the assault, Michaela ended up taking her own life. This case is slowly starting to be forgotten about because Michaela isn't alive to give her testimony in the courtroom, even though there is more than enough evidence. Stephen is currently out on bail, living his life free to do whatever he wants. Based on the current charges, the maximum sentence that Stephen may face is only 3 years in prison, which is absolutely mind-blowing and insane. But what do you guys think about this case?
That is absolutely disturbing. Only 3 years? That's insane.
Guys, the FBI, the Pentagon, the White House, and Congress have all now officially opened up a brand new investigation. There are scientists that are directly connected to NASA, nuclear weapons, and classified military programs that keep on going missing, and nobody knows why.
The FBI is investigating possible connections in the cases of 10 missing or dead scientists and staff who worked at sensitive nuclear or space technology.
So ever since 2022, 11 different scientists that are connected to America's most classified programs have now gone missing under suspicious circumstances. And I cannot believe I'm about to say this right now, but the FBI just confirmed that they are officially looking for connections between all of them. 2 different employees from the same exact nuclear weapons lab vanished weeks apart. Both of them left behind their car, their keys, their wallet, and their phone, and one of their phones was actually factory reset before they disappeared. A NASA engineer just randomly vanished off the planet while hiking and they were never found, and then a retired Air Force general walked out of his house and was never seen again. Those 2 people actually worked together on the same exact classified program. Hello? One of them was actually a military intelligence officer who worked for DARPA. He was gone right before he was supposed to testify to Congress about UFOs, and his cause was never confirmed. And on Kalshi right now, people have bet almost $100,000 that the government is going to confirm that aliens exist before 2027. I am going to keep on watching this story. This is obviously insane, so make sure you add me now so you don't miss any update.
There's a tree in my yard that's following me, guy. If you haven't heard about this man, there is a man who is steadily watching a tree move closer to his house every day. How does he know this tree is moving closer to him every day? Because every morning he goes out and measures it by foot. Swears up and down that this tree is new. Not this one. This tree has been there. He said he has family photos with this tree in the background. This is the suspicious tree. The neighbors come by, he warns them to keep an eye on this tree. He keeps telling this tree to back off, but every day it gets a little bit closer. I'm not here to judge, at the moment just give you the update, but at first he was concerned for his safety, but now he's starting to be concerned about the good tree's safety. Because now he thinks this tree may be plotting against the good tree. Not only is he now taking measurement of how far the good tree is from this tree that keeps moving, but he's giving us an up close and personal view of both trees, which he says makes this tree look even more suspicious. Because this is a tree in his yard that he says keeps getting closer to him. While this is the other tree that he says he can find it on Google Maps. He has seen this tree his entire life in this neighborhood. When he backs off, the trees look like they both have relatively the same amount of sunlight. So why does the real tree look like this, while the suspicious tree looks like this? People in the comments are making very good points in that everyone's crazy until it's proven that they're not crazy. So before anyone says this is crazy, a tree would never stalk someone. Are you sure? Before we start calling anyone crazy, remember we used to call people who believed and saw aliens crazy? But then it turns out they're now saying that aliens are not only real, but they've always been real. So.
I don't get that. How does that make any sense? There's no proof. I don't know.
Picture heading out for a night at your favorite restaurant. And all of a sudden you order your food, you sit down, you start eating.
Dinner had bed bugs.
Next thing you know,
from the chair.
something's crawling on your leg from your chair. So you get up to see what the hell it is. Take a look at this wild video of what happened to one woman in a restaurant. Check this out. Look at the chair. Look at that.
Wow, literally. Seriously.
Know what they are?
Yeah.
Bed bugs.
That is disgusting.
They literally crawling up out the crack of the chair.
Bed bugs.
How does that even happen? How does it get to a chair?
In restaurants.
Bed bugs, and they probably done ate plenty of people up. And you said rare for you. The whole chair is infested.
Look at that. There's probably 1 million of them in there.
That's
there they go.
wild.
These are bed bugs in a chair at Rafferty's. Look,
Rafferty's.
there's so many in the crack of the seat.
Wow. Have a look at that. They are right in the crack of the chair. Really gross. But can you blame the restaurant for this? And why do I say that? Because of the fact that bed bugs are hitchhikers, which means they might have jumped in her purse, got on her clothes, they hitchhike and go from one place to another. And the only way that she knew that they were there to go look was because while they were crawling on her while she was eating, they were biting her. Once again, as a friendly reminder, you need to be very careful where you sit in restaurants and pay very close attention now to your chair. But honestly, they're going to have to figure something out. Maybe go with plastic chairs instead of these upholstered into wood chairs. I mean, seriously, there's like, you go to a restaurant to sit down and eat, and now you got to worry about bed bugs crawling up your you-know-where or landing on your you-know-what. So I guess my question to you is, I have a couple. Should this be a part of the restaurant grade? You know, like they give them for cleanliness and food? Should they include bugs in chairs, including bed bugs? And my other question to you is, will this change the way you think about going out to eat? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Are you planning your family road trip for this summer and it's requiring you to drive on I-40 or I-35? You've got to be careful because that is serial killer season. Parking lots, gas stations, and rest stops are a serial killer's personal hunting ground.
This is part 2, y'all, of the I-40 incidents. This guy, his name is Nomad Animal Encounter on TikTok. If you want to check out his page, it's very interesting. He goes into like stories or basically talking about how serial unalivers, that's their feeding ground. That's their hunting ground, I-40 specifically. And I told y'all about how one of the most prolific unalivers, I think the most prolific unalivers in US history, but his hunting ground was I-40. He did over 90 plus unalivings on that highway because there's just so much ground for serial unalivers to use. And the FBI says there's like at least 500. No, I wouldn't say at least. They said 500 unnamed serial unalivers. My thing is, why is that such a specific number? Do y'all know something that we don't? Anyway, I say all that to say, like, you would think that's fluff, right? Okay, it's just, fear mongering. No, it's true. I did research. Holly Bobo in Tennessee, 2011. It's broad daylight. She vanishes. Like, they still don't even know how she was taken. She vanishes, and she was found years later. Her remains years later. Of Heather Elvis, she disappeared. Well, she was last seen near a boat landing and just completely vanishes. Same way the first case, same way she vanished, completely gone. To this day, people still don't know what happened to her, but she did disappear on I-40. Erin Swift, she disappeared after a Halloween party, and then her remains were found right by I-40. Like, this is clearly a pattern. I'm just trying to figure out what's going to be done about it. Like, how's the FBI just going to announce this? Like, what are y'all doing? Eating hot cocoa or drinking hot cocoa and eating some cookies? Go out there and get some serial unalivers for us because we need to sleep at night. Anyway, as always, make sure you guys like and follow. Comment down below if you want a part 3 because there's like so many more, or we can do other highways. We can do. You let me know.
A Spanish bullfighter has succumbed to one of the worst sports injuries imaginable. While fighting 4 bulls at once, the man known as the King of Bullfighters dropped his cape and accidentally left himself exposed. The crowd watched the incident unfold in stunned silence, which the bullfighter later described as the most painful experience of his life. After being rushed to hospital, he faced hours of surgery to repair a 4-inch tear of the rectum. And despite struggling to eat or even sleep because of the pain, I'm happy to inform you that he has posted a video from the hospital after surgery where he said that he is slowly getting better.
Oh my god.
I'm going to show you 5 different angles that we have of this UFO that was spotted in Miami. We've never had this much high quality footage of a single UFO before. Here we have a shot of it at the beach side in Miami, and if you look close, you can see that it appears to be dropping something down to the surface. And then there's this one where you can see the same red lights and also the triangular shape, but with this one you can see that it seems kind of like spiky. And many people are speculating that this might be the mothership we've been hearing about for years that said it was going to reveal itself to humanity because the government is taking too long to reveal it itself. And here's the last clip where we can see the mothership from the opposite side of Miami Beach. And I think this is really cool because we've never seen a UFO with this many different camera angles. And of course the news isn't covering any of this, even though there's been many eyewitness reports who have recorded this at different camera angles all around the city. Because we know the news is fake, they've not been helping anyone ever. But I think the most interesting thing about this is we've been hearing about a mothership that was in around the Gulf of America region in Florida that said it was going to reveal itself to humanity at a certain point in time in the very near future because the government has not revealed it to the public yet when they were given a deadline to do so. And they've gone past that deadline, so now the aliens or whoever's up there is now going to reveal itself to humanity on its own.
I don't know about you, but me, this would bother the living hell out of me for a long time, regardless if I got a discount or not. And what am I talking about? A guy ordered a brand new refrigerator from Lowe's. Sticker price was about $1,000. But when he got the refrigerator, take a look at what happened. Look at this.
All right, so I ordered this
fridge
from Lowe's, a Frigidaire.
Nice fridge.
I paid $1,000. It was $1,000 and some change. Well, it came in today, and check it out, guys. Look.
No.
1, 2, 3. Now, when the guy delivered it, it was strapped up, but apparently it must have got damaged in shipping. So we got on the phone, and I wound up getting this fridge for $500 off.
Not me. You're a better man than me.
Decent fridge. Pretty much brand new. I just got it.
No, I got that. That would annoy me. No.
Gotta add a baking soda.
Yeah, but not the dents in the door.
Anyway.
Sorry. Like I said, definitely a better man than me because I would have made them take that back so fast. Do you know how much that would annoy me? It's not just the 3. You could see there's another one all the way at the top. There is no way I'm keeping that in my house. I don't care if it's $500 off. There's no way. So you already know. My question to you is, would you keep this refrigerator and take the $500 off? Or would you send it the heck back?
No.
And get one that is not damaged? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
What would you guys do? I would not care. I'd be like, $500 off? Sure. Cool,
this
it works.
This is disturbing, but it's also sad. There was this 15-year-old kid. His name was Mark Williams. And his biggest dream was to become a YouTuber, right? And what he would watch a lot would be parkour YouTubers. So he would want to become a parkour YouTuber. And then eventually in 2019, he ended up making a YouTube channel. And he first started posting these videos with his little brother. Okay. Down. Down. Go straight across.
What do you mean you
See that? Right there. But then as time went on, his little brother would just stop being featured in these videos. And then during this time, it kind of deterred him from wanting to make YouTube videos.
My brother, who was part of the channel then, he's not now. I don't think he's coming back at all. He ditched me, leaving me by myself, and I've got a problem with talking to myself as well. I'm trying to stop that. I'm trying to get some proper quality videos going. I mean, I've been doing this for like 3 years now. You'd expect I should have got it right by now, and I apologise for that.
And even his mom says that he kind of had trouble making friends, but like it was just because whenever he would make friends, he chooses like the wrong crowd,
like
sometimes.
bad influences.
Yeah, and he's too much of a caring, loving person to kind of like look past their flaws or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then one time he gets like a comment from a deleted video now from a supporter of his videos. His name was Lewis, and this guy Lewis was like, he basically asked him to be featured on his next video, and from then on they would post videos together. But then again, he kind of stopped posting videos because as he got older, he had to start worrying about getting a job because he wasn't really getting money from this. It wasn't really blowing up. 2 months later, both Mark and Lewis, they go missing. And then what people say that happened to them was both of them went to like this pub. It was for them to like talk about a new video idea. Eventually it got to a point where Mark, he called his aunt. His aunt says that you could tell that he's drunk as. But Lewis, he was like, I'll make sure that I'll get him home safe. The next day after that, there were reports coming in of people saying that they saw Lewis. So they track Lewis down, and I believe at his friend's house. They still don't see Mark at all. Lewis, he was not really budging on like where Mark was. So then they interrogated the friend, and Liam told them everything. That night, whenever the aunt called Mark, they were out drinking, but Lewis kept feeding Mark these cocktails that had like a alcohol. So after the call with the aunt, Mark had went somewhere to throw up, and then out of nowhere, Lewis took out a knife and stabbed him literally in the back. And then Mark, since he's still kind of drunk, he doesn't know what's really going on. Then Lewis just like laughs or giggles, and then just stabs him over and over and over. And the reason why Liam knows this, Lewis had recorded the whole thing. Now there's no like there's no videos out there of this happening or whatever, right? It shows him stabbing Mark over 100 times, and he even shows himself ripping out his eyeballs out of his skull and like laughing about it like a fucking psychopath. And like he was like showing like Liam like, yo, look what the fuck I just did. And I believe it's like an hour long amount of footage that they found. And then
Selena looks different, and so does Ariana. She went back to brown hair, but anyways, this photo of Selena Gomez is surfacing, as well as her new music video, and a lot of fans are saying she looks different, but aside from that, her brand, Rare Beauty, commented on this TikTok user's video. It was a heart emoji eye, and the TikTok user says, point of view making Justin Bieber mad with my Rare Beauty gloss. The fact that Rare Beauty commented on this with the heart eye emoji, it's messy. Because Selena now, obviously, she's married, but fans are mad because there's also another theory saying that every friend she makes, she steals their man. So people are making this image, and they're just saying she just looks different. I think she's just in a different era. Maybe her villain era? But anyways, Ariana Grande said, it's good to see me, isn't it? With brown hair. She literally looks the same as she did 10 years ago. And even with the wig when she was on SNL, she looked good with brown hair. Like, I'm ready for Ariana to come back in her 7 Rings era. I'm over the blonde. I'm over the blonde hair. I'm over the blonde eyebrows. I think this comment is just wild, alongside this cartoon photo.
Y'all see this toddler have an absolute meltdown at the Great Wolf Lodge? They open the door and this little girl freaks out.
Come on, Mama.
She don't like this. So apparently this is a common occurrence. There's a story going around where these parents rented 2 rooms. And the rooms were adjoined by a door. The kids took the room with the bunk beds while the parents took the other room. So they enjoy their first day there. They go to bed that night, and the mom wakes up in the middle of the night freaking out. She's obviously distraught, wakes up the dad. He's like, honey, what's wrong? And she said she heard one of the kids yell, Mom. So the dad opens the conjoining door room, goes in, and his daughter is sitting terrified in a corner, like rocking back and forth. He's like, what's wrong? What happened? And she starts screaming, it's still in here, it's still in here. So he checks the entire room. There's nothing there. So the little girl tells him that she was asleep. She woke up because she heard the door open. And a man starts walking towards her bed. And at first she thought it was him, and then she realized it was a lot taller than him. She said it was also a lot skinnier than him, extremely white with no discernible facial features. She said she covered herself up with a blanket, and when she moved the blanket to see where it was walking back into the parents' room, so she got up and went into the corner of the room. At this point, the whole family is in the bunk bed room, so they decide to stay in that room and go to sleep. They close the conjoining door room and lock it, and the dad turns on the closet lights and closes the closet door. So everybody goes to sleep, including the mom, but the dad's still up, and he notices the closet light turns off. He gets up and checks, nothing's there. He sits back down, and then he hears a knocking on the conjoining door. And at first, he was like, that's not happening. And then he finally gets up to check to see if there's something in that room. He opens the door, nothing's there, he gets back in bed. And then he notices his wife seems to be having a nightmare. So he wakes her up, and she's freaking out. She said she had a nightmare, that they were asleep in the room that they were in. She got up to use the bathroom, and she somehow ended up in the other room on the other side of the door. And she was beating on the door trying to get back in because it was locked and she couldn't get in the room. Which is crazy because the husband actually heard it. So the next morning, everybody wakes up. The dad separates the kids and asks them exactly what they saw. Both of the kids described the same thing, except for the younger brother said the thing had glowing eyes and the sister didn't. And the mom asked who was yelling for her that night, and all the kids said, we didn't yell for you. So even creepier than the kids seeing the exact same apparition, they both said that it was speaking in a whisper but in another language that they couldn't understand. So obviously after this, they decided to move rooms. And in their other room, they didn't have this problem. So I would love to hear if you guys have had similar experiences at the Great Wolf Lodge, or if there's anybody that's worked at one of these establishments that have experienced something.
They said I taste like piss, but you still can't stop drinking me. You ever wonder why? 21 grams of sugar in one bottle. You thought this stuff was supposed to be good for you? What a joke! They told you it's for hydration, but look at what you're actually drinking. A toxic chemical cocktail endorsed by your favorite athletes. You see that color? That's not fruit. It's red 40, yellow 5, and blue 1. But hey, you don't care though, right? You feel that coating on your tongue? Yeah, that's not hydration. It's glycerol ester of rosin. Look it up. Water, sugar, dextrose, modified starch, natural flavor. You don't even know what you're tasting anymore. Ever notice it doesn't feel like water? It's thicker. It coats your mouth. It lingers, almost like it's not real. So go ahead, take another sip. Your favorite players said it's good for you. What do I know?
You're already infected. Brain rot reels.
Man went to the woods alone and might have proved skinwalkers are real.
I don't believe in skinwalkers, so I brought myself to the middle of a forest and got lost to
This
prove their
man is
non-existence.
brave.
I decided to taunt them and then started hearing something calling for help outside my tent.
Skinwalker! Skinwalker! Skinwalker!
I honestly have no idea what that was, but there's only one logical
Something's
thing to
trying to
do at
draw
this
him
point,
out.
and that's to venture deeper into the forest until I'm completely lost. I've been warned by so many locals to stay away from this forest, so that's why I'm doing all the things that you possibly can imagine you're supposed to do. If skinwalkers are real, honestly, I might be in some serious danger, but there's one thing that scares me more than skinwalkers, and well, that's other people. I don't know who or what's out here, but every step I feel like something is watching me, and well, I was soon about to be proven right. I'm getting this feeling of dread, and I soon found out why. Someone has made these figurines and crosses and hung them from trees. As soon as I found them, I started hearing this off in the distance after I turned off all my lights and used my infrared camera.
Could be signs of a witch. Stay weird, y'all.
I have no idea what that is, but the only way to find out is to venture deeper to find it.
The Amazon River is over 4,000 miles long, making it the second longest river in the entire world, next to the Nile River. Now, there's something that I really need to understand about this, and I think I need your help. So, we all understand that water finds and seeks level. It doesn't matter what container you put it in, that's just what it does. And it always goes from higher elevation to lower elevation. The Amazon River is flowing from the mountains in the west all the way down and out through Brazil and into the ocean. But if it's over 4,000 miles long, then it's literally going over 1/7 of the planet's circumference. And that's me being generous with the numbers. So, can you please tell me how the Amazon River is not flowing in two separate directions in the middle if it's going over 1/7 of the planet's circumference? And watch this video. I thought it was really interesting. Notice how the sun is actually moving away and getting smaller and not setting over a physical curvature. So where's the curve? And if there was any curvature, how is the water flowing upstream? That defies literally all laws of physics. All you have to do is think with your logical mind, and you can completely dismantle the globe model. But I made this video entirely for entertainment purposes only. This chalk ashwagandha genuinely makes me so chill that I don't even care that they're lying about the shape of the earth. This supports my mood, energy, focus, and actually makes me not give a fuck. So if you want some, comment info and check your DMs.
Our teacher was 100% hungover when this thing rolled into class. You knew they didn't want to teach. They were just hungover. If your mom didn't buy you nail polish because you were too young, that's okay because we had whiteout. Even if your initials weren't an S, everyone would draw this S. It didn't matter how dirty the walls were. When we walked down the hall, we would run our finger down. We would just see how long we could go. We all loved looking at this fish, but none of us really read the book. And the book was everywhere. If you had this notebook, you were a good student automatically. Half the time, we just went to the library for the vibes. This is the vibe. And we don't know who told us to draw the sun in the corner, but we did on every single drawing.
Ma'am, that is not your dog. It might have been at one point, but it isn't now. Whatever on God's green earth is copying your dog is doing this, but that's not your dog. So a woman noticed every time she turned her back to her dog started acting like it wanted to bite her. Just watch this. Oh no. What the fuck? Now she said it started doing this after they went on a hike in the Escalante Petrified Forest in Utah. And her dog's been acting weird like this since. Just look at a couple of these freeze frames from where this dog is trying to eat her while she turns her back. Now that's a super predatorial type of thing to do. Cats do that. Look, he got caught. Now it's doing it again. That almost looks like a person's face. That is weird. Now I don't know if y'all know this or not, but the area where she went hiking and her dog started acting weird, it's also a really big area where Native Americans talked about skinwalkers. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think you might have got your dog switched out with a skinwalker, honey. 'Cause what the fuck is that? The better question is why? Why is it doing this? What's y'all's thoughts on this?
Okay, we need to take a look at this table for a second, because when people think AI is going to like take the hard jobs and leave more for like humans to do fun things, that is so far removed from the reality of the situation. It's not even. So this says 2029, could be even sooner. Self-driving cars become ubiquitous. 12 million drivers unemployed. That's taxi cab drivers. And in China, we already have that situation. There's driverless cars all over the place. I'm pretty sure somewhere in Texas, didn't you guys tell me there's driverless cars? If you get in a driverless taxi, you might as well, you're probably going to get the brain implantable microchip as well. To be doctors, AI diagnoses better than doctors, prescribes perfectly, never forgets. 2030, well, robotic surgery, surgeons out of business. That's coders. Of course, I don't even know really what a coder is, but I'm sure AI can do that. Teachers, didn't you just see Melania Trump say, teachers will be robots? Lawyers, we already know lawyers, consultants, and accountants literally will be replaced like very soon. This says 2031, I think within like 12 months. Artists. Now, artists is one thing, like, yes, AI can generate anything, song, movie, music, movie, on demand, etc. But I think that real art will still be, should be still anyway, sought out. Factory. Lights out manufacturing. They don't need to install lights in a big factory where robots were. Now here, soldiers. AI cops, robo-cops. You think cops are safe from the AI thing? I don't think. So this screenshot is from this book right here, and then someone put it together called Thought Capital. Now this is part of the grand plan to unemploy a bajillion people and then create a new financial system called universal basic income. We all know the plan. But clearly they are extremely invested in us being more artificial and being less organic and being more synthetic. Especially when you look at what's going on in the food and water supply today. They want you weak. If you think it's important to boost your vitality, right now Chalk is giving away free $100 bags of organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia, the chocolate powder, which is super detoxing and delicious. And if you combine that with the hot water purified Shilajit, you're getting some of the most powerful adaptogens in the natural world. Comment free below and check your DMs for details.
A husky in Saskatchewan loves her doggy daycare so much that she actually took herself there without her humans on a day that she was supposed to skip it and go to the vet. Staff at Spot's place were pretty startled when they looked outside and saw a loose dog running around in the parking lot. And they quickly realized that this was a dog they already knew very well. Missy the husky evidently didn't agree with the vet appointment and decided she was not going to miss a day of daycare if she had any bark in the matter. She normally attends every Monday through Friday, and she's so well established in the social structure that she even has a boyfriend there named Shaggy that she's attended doggy prom with. But it was clear to Missy on this particular morning when they hadn't left the house on time that her routine had been tampered with. She wouldn't have it. So after her human let her out in the backyard that day, she snuck out. She managed to dig her way under the gate and out of the backyard, and because they usually bike to daycare in the mornings, she already knew the route very well. Shortly thereafter, she was at the front door of Spot's place, covered in mud, waiting patiently to be let in. And she clearly fully believed that she deserved extra treats for her dedication to perfect attendance. Employees were shocked, but nonetheless delighted to see her, and Missy's tenacity was in fact rewarded. She not only got to hang out and play with Shaggy, she was also treated to a special spa day while she was waiting to be picked up. Missy is now an internet legend, and she's blissfully unaware of the amount of work she's added to her humans plate in terms of reinforcing the gate so that this never happens again. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
Almost thought this was fake at first, but there's a town in California where stores like McDonald's, Walmart, and Starbucks are all illegal. Carmel by the Sea banned corporate chains and big box retailers in the 1980s, making it one of the first cities in America to do so. There are no drive-thrus or strip malls, as it's all written directly into their municipal code. Every restaurant is independently owned, every shop is local, and a third of residents run their own businesses. Most of America has been hollowed out by corporate consolidation with the same 5 chains on every block, but Carmel didn't want that.
You're probably looking at this thinking it's pictures from somewhere in Europe, but Carmel has unique character, incredible walkability, and an unemployment rate at just 3%, proving this anti-corporate model works.
The best way to mitigate the strip mall takeover is by supporting your local farmers, and that way we don't have to watch them swallow up every town in America.
You hear about Dante's Inferno? The different levels of hell?
No.
I think it's a mythology.
Yeah.
What people considered hell to be, and Dante
Dante's
wrote
Inferno?
these things about the different levels of hell, purgatory,
Really?
and what would happen. Yeah. Apparently the deepest part of hell isn't hot.
It's not hot?
It's not hot. It's not fire.
So
you know
what is it?
It's cold. And
What?
it's freezing. They always said in Dante's Inferno, it's underneath the rest of the world.
Okay.
And it's ice cold. Crisp cold.
I know where you're going with
Check
this.
this out. What is under all of civilization?
Oh.
Antarctica.
Yeah, okay.
Like they say in the deepest part of hell
Yeah.
was all of the beasts, the fallen angels that God punished.
And
that's where they're trapped. They're frozen.
Oh, they're
frozen.
frozen.
And when the apocalypse comes, that's when they get thawed out. That's when you start to see like the Leviathan.
Yeah,
the beast,
yeah.
all of the things in Revelation.
Oh my gosh.
So people theorize the hell they're talking about
Yeah.
is Antarctica.
That makes sense though,
So
because
that
why?
might be where the dragon is.
Yes, because why is it so heavily guarded?
There's a new trend on TikTok, and it's called Scientology Speedrun. And the goal is pretty simple. Run as far into a Scientology building as fast as you can before getting caught. And if you are stopped, brace yourself, because they do not hold back when they kick you out.
Get out! Get out! What are you doing? Get out of the building! No! You're trespassing! Get out of the building! Get out! Get out! Stop it! Get out! Just get out! Just get out! Thank you! Go!
But guys, this has become so much more than just a joke, because some people are going as far as to try and map out the entire layout of this building so that they can plan their future runs in order to make it even further and break what they're now calling the speed run record. Bro, this is becoming Subway Surfer Scientology. And it's only that because one group recently brought an air horn along with them to cause the biggest disturbance possible.
Guys, this is officially the last warning that you're going to be able to get because this is happening tonight and you need to make sure that you do not miss it. So happening tonight, the Lyrid meteor shower is going to be hitting its peak, and this year the conditions to see it are basically going to be perfect. The moon is going to be setting after midnight, which means that you're going to have a pitch black sky for the entire peak, and that makes the meteor so much easier to see. This meteor shower is most famous for the fireballs that can shine so bright that they outshine every other star in the sky, and they can leave glowing trails behind them. So you want to make sure you don't miss it. The meteors that you're going to be able to see tonight are completely harmless, and they're actually just pieces from a comet 250 years ago. But on Kalshi right now, people have put $110,000 on whether a major meteor strike would hit Earth by 2030, and 58% of people think that it will. So that's insane. The best time to go outside and look is going to be around 2 a.m. You're going to want to face east and then find the brightest star in the sky that you can find. That's going to be Vega. And then all you need to do is obviously look up and let your eyes adjust to the darkness. You do not need a telescope and you do not need any equipment at all. Make sure you do not forget, and if you find anything, make sure you send me photos and videos so that I can share.
Okay, this is straight out of a horror movie. And I thought about this because if they don't want us eating cows and they don't want us having, animals and whatnot, people are obviously going to hide them and have them. Well, in France, French police are using drones with thermal imaging to locate cattle that are hidden in the countryside, whose owners, the farmers, refuse to, you can fill in the blanks. Once they're located, huge teams of police, and there's a video of it, show up, and administrators are there to get their livestock, to administer the quote-unquote medicine to their livestock. And I'm sure the excuse is the same thing if you live in Kelowna, British Columbia. If you have an apple tree on your property in British Columbia, in Kelowna at least, and you don't spray it with pesticides, you have to chop it down. You have two options: spray it with pesticides or chop it down, which is hilarious because if pesticides work, all the farms that get sprayed should be safe, right? But the one apple tree's spray doesn't work unless all the trees are sprayed. Does that sound familiar, dude? Mine doesn't work unless you have yours, and the same thing they're doing now with cows. Dude, if you're in France, you need to, I don't even know what to say, like a bajillion people need to say no to this right now. Because first, it's your animals, your pets, your animals, your livestock. Then it's you. Now, I don't have all the answers, but I do know clearly they want us in a lowered state of consciousness today, and they want our pineal glands calcified. If you think it's important to detox and rejuvenate your system from all the crazy stuff we're exposed to, right now Chalk is giving away free $100 bags of the organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia, the chocolate powder, which is super detoxifying and delicious. And if you combine that with the hot water purified Shilajit, you're getting some of the most powerful adaptogens in the natural world. Comment the word free below and check your DMs for details.
So you're telling me that nobody sees anything wrong with the fact that the media has been very dismissive and very little coverage of the missing scientists and even the ones that have popped up dead. And why do I say that? Because another name has just been added to the list, not on the missing side, but on the DOA side. And the latest name to be added? This scientist right here, David Wilcock. And yes, this is the same David Wilcock from the show Ancient Aliens. He's also a UFO researcher. And the claim is that this individual has passed away at the age of 53. And keep this in the back of your mind. There are 11 other individuals that either did the same thing he did or something similar to it. But the one thing they all have in common is they're either missing or they're dead. So the question that needs to be asked is, what is going on? Have a listen to him in his own words just a couple of days ago.
Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary.
And those are in his own words. Fast forward to today. Authorities get a 911 call. They show up at this man's house and they find his body. And also in that video, he sounds a lot like an individual that's more concerned about the safety of his own life rather than an individual talking as if he was going to take his own. And once again, this is the type of stuff he was studying. And if you go back and play the video, he was talking about how people are disappearing, people are missing, and the president is going to investigate this. But one thing you should take note of in that message, what he said, it's very scary. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
For the first time in over 15 years, the world's most valuable company has a new leader. But what that means for Apple's future might be more significant than you think. 'Cause Tim Cook, despite the huge shoes he had to fill, he turned Apple into an absolute financial beast, making it the first company in history to hit a $1 trillion valuation. And since achieving that in 2018, he has quadrupled the company's valuation. But it wasn't just the money, because while at Apple, Tim Cook also oversaw the release of industry-shifting products like the Apple Watch and the AirPods. However, it's not all praises, because Cook is being continuously criticized for failing to do anything revolutionary with the iPhone. And then, of course, there's Apple's failures with AI and the Vision Pro. But that is exactly where everything could be about to change. Because the man taking over, John Ternus, is not just anybody. Unlike Tim Cook, Ternus has vast experience as a hardware engineer, similar to Steve Jobs himself. In fact, Ternus has played a pretty big role in almost every single major product that Apple has ever released, because he has served as the head of the engineering department, and he's worked for the company for over 20 years, including under Steve Jobs. So, with a hardware engineer now leading Apple into its new era, the question is, can they still cook without Cook?
So Israel announced recently that they're going to be hosting the largest Pride Festival of 2026, and it's going to be happening at the Dead Sea. Now, I just have a few questions and concerns. Point number one is that the last time something like this happened, it didn't really end well. Point number two, why is our greatest ally hosting the largest Pride Festival? Point number three, I don't really appreciate the ground that my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ walked on is going to be desecrated by a bunch of homosexuals. And point number four, I don't really care whether this happens in Israel, America, Australia, China, Russia, wherever, it's wrong. Why in the world does the Holy Land of all places need to be absolutely disrespected like that? And to all my Christian evangelicals, are you going to let this slide just because it's happening in Israel? Are you going to allow it and say that it's okay because it's happening in Israel?
Three grand jury investigations, cell phone wiretaps, and child pornography on his phone. David's preliminary hearing was supposed to be today. Welcome back to law school, I guess. So a preliminary hearing is where prosecutors lay their cards on the table. Police, investigators, all of it. You see the evidence they have in the case many times for the first time. That was supposed to happen today, but it did not. The prosecution hasn't finished turning over preliminary discovery in the case to the defense attorneys, and I'm not even sure they have all the discovery organized themselves. So the judge continued the hearing until May 1st. And even then, that date isn't confirmed. The judge said it depends on how much discovery actually gets turned over before then. Here's the news that broke today. Prosecutors allege that they found a large amount of child pornography on David's phone. They didn't confirm whether any of it involved Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and they also said that there were wiretaps that they had on his phone as well, which means they got it, he again cooked. They also said there were 3 separate grand jury investigations, and yesterday the coroner confirmed that she was killed with a sharp object. The prosecution said they want trial within 60 days. That is you never see that. That is really, really fast. So you should expect a lot more detailed evidence. May 1st is the next court date to watch if discovery gets turned over.
The mass shooting that involved 8 children, we now have the identity of that shooter. The suspect has been identified as Shamar Elkins, former U.S. Army soldier who shot 8 children dead, injured 2 women, one of them in critical condition. We're also getting reports that most of the kids were his. Apparently, he went to different locations to do these shootings. After he shot the 8 people, he carjacked someone. There was a police chase. They chased him down, shot him. He is deceased. As of right now, they said it's unclear what prompted the shooting. They know that it was some type of domestic disturbance. The children's ages range from 1 year old to 14. They have said that there were signs of mental health struggles. One of his Facebook posts, he had put God to guard his mind. Dear God, I ask you to help me guard my mind and my emotions. When negativity arises, remind me to say it does not belong to me in the name of Jesus. When depression tries to settle in, when anger rises, when anxiety or panic comes, give me the awareness to recognize what is not from you and the strength to reject it immediately in the name of Jesus. Also reports that some of the kids were running, trying to escape as he gunned them down.
So apparently our phones are now giving us something called popcorn brain, and it might even be the reason why some people make more money than others. Popcorn brain basically happens when your brain is used to constant fast stimulation. This includes short form videos, some video games, and infinite scrolling. Your brain basically adapts to processing information at an unnatural pace. So when something eventually requires real focus, it's going to start to feel really uncomfortable. And this might explain exactly why some people make more money than others. Because most high-paying skills actually require deep focus. And they require for thinking clearly for extended periods of time. But scrolling on TikTok trains your brain for speed. And when your brain gets used to these constant little dopamine spikes, deep work starts to feel harder than it should. Which makes building skills a lot harder. It makes your career growth a lot slower. And it just brings down your overall quality of life. I know I'm probably not the first person to tell you that doom scrolling is bad for you. But as a former 8-hour-a-day doom scroller myself, I can confidently say I make much more money ever since I brought my screen time below 5 hours a day. I did this by downloading this new app on the App Store called Spool. The reason Spool is so effective at lowering your screen time is because it introduces friction before entering some of your favorite apps like TikTok, for example. It does this by forcing you to give a written or spoken reason before entering some of your favorite apps. So instead of just subconsciously opening up TikTok and beginning to scroll, you actually have to decide and give a valid reason. This small habit is going to make it incredibly easy to put your phone down, and you'll usually end up further in the long run.
He